And we are recording. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Conservatish with Peter Feliciano, episode 163. My name is Peter Feliciano. Wherever you're listening, make sure you subscribe. I'm not fucking around. Subscribe, rate it, review it, share it with your friends, and find me on Instagram at Peter_Feliciano. Find me on TikTok while the Chinese are still allowing that. Let's be real, though. It's the white motherfuckers who are really clamping down on that. Maybe I'll get into that. You can find me on TikTok at Conservatish, on Facebook, on Twitter at Rule62Peter, I believe. And yeah, our wonderful guest is the returning champion, Kay Cassels. Thank you so much for coming today, sir.
Thank you for having me.
And where can people find you?
They could, well, I would plug in my Facebook, but Facebook nuked that, all right, and I had to start all over. So if you can, just add me on Instagram. That is KECASSELLS. That's Kay Cassels. You can also find that on SoundCloud and whatnot because I have some good fucking music and whatnot. And yeah, Twitter, Vonny Boy, VONNYBOII. So that's where you can find me for now.
I don't know why I've never listened to any of your music yet. I don't know.
Nah, because you're an asshole, bro. I mean,
have you listened to any of my music?
On the last one, though.
Have you listened to any of my music?
No, I haven't, because I'm an asshole.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, no, but I'm a proud asshole. Like, I'm an open asshole for me. Like, yeah.
That's true. And that shirt makes you look like you need to have like French baguettes coming out, like you're missing. Like,
I need to be. Yeah, yo, it's funny. I actually took a picture. I'll actually tag you in the picture. Actually, I'll do it right now just to be funny. But it's in France with the shirt on.
Oh, really?
I saw like 10 people with the shirt. I was like, wait a minute.
To finish the outfit, you have to act like a complete cunt in order to really French.
I was just talking to my girlfriend about this the other day. I was like, the French are really mean to Americans. Like, they hate the American people. But yeah. Right. So that was a pretty bad French accent.
That's all right. I forgive you. Thank you so much for coming on. So let's dive right the fuck in. I've had just so everybody knows, I love the last couple episodes I've done. I took last week off, and then this week I put out an episode with Dr. Shelby Steele, which is amazing. I love that that talk was good. But especially everybody, just to remind everybody, go watch that movie, What Killed Michael Brown. It's a really heavy, important piece of art. And but the last 2 episodes I haven't been able to like cuss. It's strange. Like I'm climbing up the ladder. It's kind of that thing Patrice.
I just did a live the other day. It was like, she's super Christian. She's a sweet girl. Her name is Erin. And I'm like, damn, I want to curse at least once just to, but I trust me. I feel you, bro.
Yeah. Feel you. So should we talk about shitty whites or shitty blacks? Which one?
Let's talk about shitty blacks. Let's talk about shitty blacks.
Yay!
I'm an asshole, but I'm not a shitty black.
Yeah, just so everybody knows, blacks are humans, so they are able to be wrong, incorrect, and just because someone has black rage doesn't mean it's black correctness.
Whoa. So, this is new to me.
Because there's a lot of white liberals who are like, well, black rage, angry black woman, she must be correct.
It's crazy. Yeah. Crazy. Anyway,
so you wanted to talk about black oversensitivity. I would love.
Hypersensitivity. Get it right.
Please.
No, I mean, like, it's like I've witnessed it over the past several years. I've been consciously witnessing it over the past couple of years. And like, it's even down to like fucking like Hollywood and like it's just like you can just see it just blatantly and you're just like, how did we get here again? But then when you really think about it, it's always been like this. It's just now more like incentivized, right? Like it's currency. Like your outrage is currency now, right? So like I thought about the Tory Lanez situation, right?
Remind me, what's the Tory Lanez?
I don't know if you're super like into it, but apparently he shot Meg Thee Stallion in the foot or something like that. And I don't know if you're into his music or if you listen to his music, but his target audience is number one women, right? But particularly Black women, right?
Right.
And everything else is follows, right? And he had that situation with Meg Thee Stallion one black woman. I'm gonna get heat for that. Nah, I know. I'm gonna get heat for that, especially if this goes crazy. But all of a sudden he hates black women. All of a sudden we gotta protect black women, and he's just like this, you know, like he made like what 10 fucking albums or mixtapes collectively for black women, and just because he had a situation that we don't know everything about, right? We don't know everything about it. It's just like, dude. Anyway,
you're saying he hates black women? Is that what you're saying?
it's just this whole thing, like, you know, black men, they're just so like not protective of black men. I mean, I don't know how else to you know articulate it, but it's just like, just last week was all good, but because he had an altercation with one black woman, she put out this narrative that, okay, well, I feel victimized by this guy, and it wasn't, I'm victimized by this person. I'm victimized by this black man, and I'm a black woman, so therefore, And that brings me also to the Ice Cube situation, the 50 Cent situation, right? Like, these people aren't like endorsing, you know, a black savior, right? They're just endorsing or supporting or working with the person who can do things for black people, right? So I'm like, okay, do we really like when people are real? Do we really like when people are like true to themselves? Do we? Like the black people, oh, I'm a real nigga, I'm a real nigga. But when people are like really, truly like, just, you know what? Forget the emotions for a second. Let's focus on the issues at hand, right? All of a sudden, these people became overnight, bro, like traitors, coons, this, that, and the other. I'm like, well, I'm glad that Ice Cube, you know, felt the wrath of the mob, right? Because now he can see, right, what black conservatives and Republicans go through on a regular basis just for speaking basic, you know, speak on their stance. You know, you don't even have to go deep into it, but off rip. You know how many times I've gotten death threats just for saying, like, you know, I don't know about the other guy. Like, you know, just that.
And he didn't even say that, really. He said, I went to both of them to try to work with them. One, Biden said, we'll see after the election, and the other was Trump, and they've tried to work. So he didn't even say go Trump. He didn't say even what 50 said, which was fuck these taxes, go Trump. You know, so
you know, I have a friend, William Benson, and he tells me often, you gotta go easy on the black community. You gotta understand, like, you know, you just gotta. And I'm like, I get it, right? Like, you know, we have this history of, like, I mean, vile history. And then it kind of trickles into today. But the issue is that the media keeps perpetuating it as if there's been no change. And I don't know about you, but I got a laptop that's like $1,500, and I'm looking at you. Another, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's still the same, right? If we absolutely ignore the progress that we've made, right, and the progress that we're making, right, the potential to make a change,
right,
you guys wouldn't even know what change looks like,
right?
You know what I'm saying? The beautiful irony in my friend telling me that is he owns his own businesses, very wealthy guy.
Right.
I'm like, I refuse to treat like black people like they're kids. You know, because if you're able to do it, you've been, you know, poor longer than you've been rich. Anybody could do it.
Right.
You know? So yeah.
So what do you think part of it is? I've thought about this a lot. I think part of it is, from the black angle anyway, is that for all humans, it's attractive to be a victim. It's attractive to have power any way we can. And if I can get real quick, easy power because of my skin and because of who I'm around, especially if I'm around a lot of white motherfuckers, because white liberals especially, will be silent, will be small, will be, oh, I'm so sorry, will be, I'm so sorry. Then it feels good to exact power on people, right?
Yeah.
And so do you feel like it's an internal, or maybe it's both, do you feel like it's an internal, I'm a victim, or do you feel like it's an external, maybe subconscious, good, I can feel power over people?
I think it's kind of like it's a tier, right? I think the more wealthy you are, it becomes more of a prop. Like it's more of like a tool to it's a power grab, right? Like it's like you're in the workplace with Karen, right? And I'm telling you this, like I literally had a FaceTime conversation with a woman named Karen,
Yeah.
right? And she's telling me about her background and there's all type of random stuff. But she starts telling me about how she got assaulted in the workplace by another black woman.
So a black girl was named Karen was talking to you about it.
No, a white woman
Okay.
named Karen got assaulted by a black woman, right? What was her name? Cynthia, something like that.
Like physically?
Physically.
Right.
And her coworkers, her peers, even her supervisor just brushed it off, right? So that in an instant like that, I can really rationalize that's just using your skin color or whatever as that, that power. Now, otherwise, generally, whether you're rich or poor, or whatever, I think that's just straight insecurity, right? Like I don't know if it's necessarily a conscious thing or even subconscious, right? It's just something that's embedded in you. I grew up in the hood. Like the school curriculum doesn't teach you necessarily, how to take control of the things that you can take control of. It teaches you, dude, you're a fucking victim, dude. Like this, it's hard out there. You know what I mean? If we spent more energy and time teaching kids like, yo, like, regardless of who you are, it's gonna be tough. You know what I mean? Regardless of who you are.
Right.
And this is what you can do to mitigate any and every, issue, you know what I mean, that you can possibly control. So
I would even
I blame the media.
Absolutely. I would even venture to say that and I don't know this for sure, so this might be me talking out of my ass. I would venture to say that more white motherfuckers kill themselves than black people. Like as far as suicide goes, suicide goes.
Yeah.
And I think that's partially because of culture, not necessarily which things harder, but there are a lot of white motherfuckers, especially white men who kill themselves.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a thing. So the idea that if you tell yourself long enough, things are bad, you're going to constantly see that. There's a great video by, what's her fucking name? Naturally Fashionable or something like that. It's this black girl on YouTube. And she made this whole video last week about black women calling themselves queen.
Yeah.
And how if you have to constantly project that I'm a queen, it's because you don't actually believe you
don't believe it.
Because you have an insecurity. It's like guys always talking about how big their dick is,
Right.
It's not me, everybody, okay? You guys have all said that about me. That's not me. But it's like that if you have to constantly project that, it's because you have an insecurity about who you are and your foundation. You don't have a foundation. You have to get your validation from other people. And if you don't feel it, you have to.
You got to keep reminding everyone. You got to keep reminding yourself. You got to keep. That's what it really comes down to. I completely agree. And there was this video. It went viral, I think, in September. And it's this mom. Okay, first of all, there's this kid. He's 19 years old. He's getting pulled over for running a stop sign. I don't know if you saw it. I suggest you watch it. It'll give you good content. But he runs the stop sign. The cop immediately radios on him, like, yo, pull over. And he pulls over, but he pulls over on the left side of the street, right? But he pulls over in front of his house. And she's like, don't get out the car. It's a police safety issue. And his mom is just right there waiting for him, his parents waiting for him. And I mean, it immediately escalates. She's like, my son's not going to become a hashtag today and da-da-da-da. Now, I will admit the cop was a little difficult because the cop could have just gave the ticket. But the cop asked the kid, are you on parole? The mom's like, don't answer her. Why do you assume that he's on parole? Because he's a black man. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck? You're teaching your child, that it's okay to break rules or to break the law or whatever and not face any ramifications. It's it's a black shield, right? Your skin is this black shield that you can just berate officers for doing their fucking job. You know what I mean?
White officer?
It was a white officer. Okay. Yeah, it was a white officer by herself. She eventually called for backup because she's like, okay, this shit is crazy. She had her hand on her gun, right, at some point. And, moms is like, see, you got your hand on your gun. My son's not going to be a hashtag. And I'm like, dude, the way you're acting, right? Who knows if you're going to pull out a gun any second now just to protect your family? You know what I mean?
So this transitions into my second point. I think a lot of white people, because they don't know black motherfuckers, are not used to black emotion. I was just in downtown, and who is the loudest? I love you, black people, but you're some loud motherfuckers, okay? But just rah, rah, you know what I mean? Like so when white motherfuckers, especially white women, are more used to everything being congenial and everything being nice and everything being in a tight little emotional package, to the point of fucking insanity, like Patrice used to say, where white women will like a black woman will like say fuck you faggot, blah blah. A white woman will like slowly whisper in your ear,
yeah.
bitch, no
You're a
one,
bitch. Yeah.
not a man, and get you to
Yeah.
like slowly. So like there's just different ways of doing it, right?
Yeah.
So when white people aren't used to blackness, you know, or
Yeah.
emotion or whatever you want to call it,
Right.
it can be much more intimidating. I would venture to say that even though that black woman was being a fucking asshole, that if the officer was black, you know, she could she could at least understand the energy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like that just because a black one, I'm gonna come back here and blow this shit up. Black people can't get dynamite, like Patrice used to say. Like you can take it for what it is and understand this is just, this is the way they express themselves. Not all the time, but this is often that, whatever.
Yeah.
And so not just is it hard to deal with, but because especially white liberals don't know enough black people, I think, that they're not used to that emotion. And so they assume that it's a rightness. They assume that it's a correctness.
Right.
Because if I'm a Karen and I look inside myself, when have I ever gone, ah! It's because I was correct. It's because I was facing, it was like a baby. When a baby like doesn't get a toy and they're like, please kill me now. They're screaming like they've been fucking, like their belly's been sliced. Right. So that emotion coming out, it's hard to measure within your own experience. If you're a Karen who's like lived in a nice little Connecticut home and everything's been cute and quaint, blah, 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 you're not used to that emotion. And so you think it's correctness.
I've spent the past 4 years traveling and I've met people like literally from everywhere. And I've come to notice there's one guy, he made a joke. He's like, I don't even remember the joke. I'm not even going to try to pretend that I remember. But it was a cracker joke, right? It was like instead of him saying nigga, it was like a cracker. And I was just like, I just looked at him. I was like, that's totally not funny. But you know what? I understand that you weren't trying to be offensive, right? His coworkers are cringing and whatnot. And I'm like, dude, like, if that was someone else who's like, into this whole like leftist ideology, this leftist narrative that, black people are they just got this target on their foreheads and on their backs at the same time. It's like they probably would have been so emotionally distraught. But I'm just like, this dude is just ignorant. He just doesn't realize he's trying to like accommodate for the gap there, right? Like he wants to be down, like he wants to be part of the, and it's just like, I didn't take it personal. I didn't take it offensive because even if he did, like it didn't affect me at all. It didn't change my day. You know what I mean? I've never, ever, ever, ever had a white person deliberately go out of their way to hurt my feelings with their words, right? But I've had the majority, of those people be black, who's ever done that, black or Latino, whatever. Sure, because of my demographic, but that in itself says a lot. That, like you said, you opened it up. I don't know if you guys know this, but black people can be dickheads too. You know what I mean? So to just reduce it to, even in the video with the mom and the son and the cop, she says, see, this is why I tell you, don't trust these white people. And I'm just like, dude, she's like raising a victim. She's raising a victim right before our very fucking eyes. And you see him like kind of like, nodding his head and just kind of like, what's the word? Submitting to her, like, and it's just sad to see, man. It's really, really sad to see. A lot of white people, they just don't realize, like you said, they don't necessarily identify with that black emotion. So they can either be completely insensitive to it and just say, you know what, fuck this. I don't give a fuck. Like, and then they'll be more prone to pull that trigger, right? Or they might be more prone to submit completely. And then these people get away with their crimes, right? When we get to a point in society where you can't even call wrong, you're just gonna have lawlessness. It's gonna be a complete spiral in this black community.
It's already done that in the goddamn What Killed Michael Brown.
I look forward to watching that, by the way.
But in that movie, they talk about how the protesters, years later, they were mad at the Ferguson Market, who called the police on Michael Brown. Now, Michael Brown was breaking the law.
The
And
law?
not just that, he was
You sure he
breaking.
wasn't breaking a jaw and not the law? Like, you get what I'm saying? Did he do it at the same time?
So he's breaking the law. The nice little Indian people were coming out from behind the counter like, no, you're not allowed. And then Michael Brown pushes them.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the fucking protesters, fucking faggots, get mad at the goddamn, these Indian people who fucking came here to try to build their life, to try to, now their whole shit has been locked down. They've been fucking, and they've tried to acquiesce.
Right.
Okay, we'll do this, we'll do that. No, it's not good enough. We want the market, because they literally said, we want the fucking market. You? What in the sweet hot fuck did you do besides get mad because your son got fucking killed? Sorry, it's very sad that your son got killed. Is it fucking possible, number one, that your son was a douchebag? Number fucking two, that he struggled with the goddamn cops after assaulting homie at the market? And now you want, even though you didn't do a goddamn thing like those Indian family to earn that business, now you want it?
But so what you're saying is he deserved to die?
I know, right?
Like, it's like, so he deserved to die? Like,
there are protesters and a lot of liberals who are getting, you shouldn't even call the cop. They want to actually enact some law, apparently, probably in California, that would get Karens who call the police, like the Barbecue Betty, that would get them in trouble.
Yeah.
On a level like a hate crime.
Yeah, hate crime. It's like, okay, I could possibly be in fucking danger, right? Which is why I'm fucking calling the law enforcement, right? And I don't want to take that chance. You know, I don't want to wait around and see, like, okay, let's try talking to them. Let's try approaching them. Let's try, because there's a lot of vitriol off rip towards white people, and I see it every single day, whether it's digitally in real life. Like, it's just like they're drooling, they're seething, like they're just like ready for somebody to say something out of line so that they can say you're racist, because again, it's currency for them, right?
And
their victimhood is currency.
You know what's even more insufferable? I mean, yes, that's insufferable when they get ripping off, but what's even more insufferable is when they sit back and they go, as a black woman, suck my dick. As a black woman, as a woman of color, just because you got fucking the luck of the draw to be, or unluck of the draw to be born the way you are, it doesn't mean your voice is more important than mine, bitch. Shut the fuck up. I get a voice just like you get a voice. That's the one. To the people who, because I know a lot of people, a lot of liberals follow me, a lot of white people who are a little upset that I keep harping on, look at this black conservative, look at this Chinese conservative, look at this Latin conservative. I will fucking not let it go, because remember 3 fucking months ago after George Floyd was killed, what was the thing that really smart, I think really smart, really kind, really considerate white motherfuckers were saying over and over and over? White people don't get to have a say. White people need to shut up. It's so simple. Just listen to black people. Fuck you. You told an entire race what they need to do, that they don't get to have a vote, that they don't get to have a say. Suck my dick. I will hammer it into the fucking ground to the day I goddamn. I will never let you cocksuckers forget that. I will never let you forget that you said that black people have a more important say. So, okay, here's a black person that disagrees with Black Lives Matter. Here's a white person. Here's a Chinese people. Here's a gay person who's a conservative. Suck my dick with that fucking identity politics bullshit.
Identity politics is really, it's a downfall. Like, and to bring it back to the media, right? It's like collectively, blacks have been like the premier target of the media, right? Like, it's like, if we can get them, and essentially blacks are considered like the pioneers of pop culture, right?
Right.
Like let's be real about it. Let's be real. If my black friend Deshaun says it's cool, fuck it, it's cool. If Deshaun says Biden is the guy to go with, I don't know shit about politics. Right. Fuck it, let's roll with him. Because if I don't, then I'm racist, and they really believe that shit. There's no mistake about it. Especially these younger millennials who just off rip. I mean, it's just the media, bro. They're just so. It's so meticulous. It's so like deliberate that it's hard to not notice anymore. What was it? This Oscars or the what was that awards show that they had recently with Anthony Anderson, and he
Uh,
just like with Jimmy
yeah,
Kimmel. It was
yeah,
like
the Emmys.
yeah, the Emmys. Oh, see, I don't even fucking remember anymore. Who cares about Hollywood anymore? You know what I'm
Let
saying?
me ask you a
It's
question,
like
Kay. Let me ask you a question, Kay. Have you ever watched? Do you watch Blackish?
I don't.
Ta-da!
But you
No
know,
black people like
it's
Blackish.
funny, conservative, Blackish is that's amazing. Like it's cool.
Right. Anyway,
Yeah.
continue with the point. I like to point
No,
that out.
yeah, no,
These white LA people are like, look, we're gonna put on Blackish. I intentionally, vindictively, to be real, looked up the ratings for Blackish, down
Wow.
every
Yep.
year, less and less. But because as a black woman writes the show, as a black woman type of people started the show, they're never gonna take it off there.
Oh yeah, no, of course not. And even with the NBA, look at the ratings for that shit. It's like down over 50%. I think it's even some people say 70.
Yes, 68 or 70. Yeah.
68, 70%. You don't even, that's unbelievable. And there's no excuse for that. They can try to spin it however they want. Everybody's home. Everybody's home. Everybody has apps on their phone to watch it. There's no excuse. This is the NBA finals. I get it. Okay, maybe 15, right? But everyone's home and they're not watching it. Why? Because people are like, honestly, this shit, bro, this shit is OD. Now, I'll be honest. I was watching the games because I bet on them. I feel a little guilty about it. But like, that was literally the only reason why, essentially. I didn't care who won. It was just the whole spirit of it. It was just sucked out of it because like, there's this whole focus on the message, right? You had people sitting out of games. These NBA players sitting out of games. Oh, because Breonna Taylor got shot and you guys aren't doing anything about it. And it's like, okay, I get it. Cool. Well, this is more than basketball. Okay, cool. All right. I turn on the TV to watch Al dribble and shoot. I didn't turn on the TV to hear because I had Fox News for that. I got CNN for that. I got MSNBC. I got One American News for that. You know what I'm saying? When you make everything down to entertainment, like just so politically driven, you'll have a nation that's just it's literally just going to be about identity politics. And what happens with that? More division. People don't really acknowledge this a lot, but it's the left that's prompting this division because now you have this group of people, this minority, and there's something that actually Ice Cube said on his segment with Chris Cuomo with his Black agenda. He said, "I'm doing this for specifically Black people. Not minorities or these little terms that you guys try to play around with, specifically Black people." Because what people like to do, like we have a bunch of like Elizabeth Warrens running around. Like I'm a Native American, right? Like I have high cheekbones, so I'm entitled to this, right? Bullshit.
It's the same thing gay people, there's been a lot of gay conservatives who are annoyed that trans got looped into it. And they're not saying that trans people don't deserve rights or don't deserve a voice or whatever, but now somebody who thinks they're literally thinks that they're like an animal spirited, now they get looped in. Were they dragged out of bars in the 60s
Right.
and 70s and beaten in the streets and called a faggot and murdered?
Right.
No. Why are they on my fucking ticket?
Right.
Why are they being looped into my shit?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's ridiculous.
I get it. There's identity politics is literally going to be if we don't hop on this shit now, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, cause I've noticed that there's like a resistance with speaking out. So if you're a conservative and you're watching all this shit and you're not saying anything, you're just hoping that, everybody else will be the savior. It's just going to fall apart. It's like voting, right? If you say, you know what, I seen enough people support Trump, I'm good, I don't need to vote tonight. But you might be that one difference, right? Because everybody else who thought like you decided not to get up, you would have made that huge difference, right? So the media is playing this fucking game, right? Where it's like, if you're you ain't Black if you don't vote for Biden, that sets a horrible precedent for the future, right? Sorry, got thrown off. Sets a horrible precedent for the future, because when I start talking about the candidate with the better policies, right? I actually had somebody the other day, 2 days ago. I'm listing some of Trump's accomplishments, factual. So you can look this shit up. permanent funding for HBCUs, $100 billion urban revitalization council, welfare reform, prison reform, he's like, talking points. I'm like, this is what we're reducing what I'm telling you to fucking talking points. As a black man, I can't see how you could possibly say any of that because
as soon as someone says as a black, poor black, shut the fuck up. Dude. Like someone was talking about last night. Sorry to interrupt, but like I sometimes I go off on today I'm taking a break from social media because last night I was like, I'm literally going into, I went onto MSNBC videos just to troll motherfuckers. Yeah. And someone was talking about they were on 50. They were on like, of course, a rich guy doesn't want to pay more. I'm like, listen, your irresponsible spending, your irresponsible decisions, your shitty lack of savings is not 50's problem.
Yep.
It's not my problem. He put in the work to do that fucking album and to do the other album and to do Vitamin Water and to do this. He has his career. He deserves what he's getting for the work he's done. And you want to say like, we need to drag him down. You're a bitch, man. You're a fucking
and let's talk about that for a second, really quick, just to interject, right? The whole like trickle down economics of it, right? When all of the rich people move out of, actually Candace Owens broke this down brilliantly. When you have all the rich people in a state like California, for example, all pack up their shit and fucking go. You have Elon Musk saying, no, I'm out of this motherfucker. It's like common sense that they're going to come after the middle guy and the little guy, right? You think they're going to stop at rich people? When they pack their jobs up and go, you're even more broke. Or collectively, you're even more broke because you don't even have the opportunities there, right? You don't have the tax revenue coming in, because not the tax revenue, that's coming in regardless, right? That's coming in regardless. What I mean is you won't have the opportunity, the economic security, statutory, right?
Right.
To function as a society. And these idiots who leave California who see, the taxes are too high, they go to Texas, they go to fucking wherever the fuck, Colorado, wherever, and they vote the same exact way, bringing these horrible policies with them, right?
Right.
The media, the education system, that's who you should recognize as the enemy. Because once you realize that, you start to people like, okay, all right, I didn't learn shit about taxes, right? I understand that 50 Cent just said that he's going to vote against Biden because of taxes. Instead of saying, he's a traitor, he's a bitch, he's this, why don't you just ask yourself a question? Do I really want to pay 60% tax? Do I really want to? And that's more than half of your bread. Okay, that's almost 2/3 of your bread going to the government that you claim is just so oppressive and X, Y, and Z. It's just, I don't know.
And not just that. And not just that, but a lot of places, especially New York and California, are already at 50%. For people over 400,000, they're already at 50%. Okay. Yes, there are some loopholes that people can, with a wonderful smart accountant, can do all the, whatever they need to do. But the rate is already incredibly fucking high. I remember looking at my shit as a dumb little waiter. You know what I mean? And my taxes were like 30%. I'm like, so a third of what I make just goes straight to the guy. And I'm a shitty little waiter. Like, that's weird, Yeah. Now, I could maybe get that back in April of next year, but I don't know that for sure, right?
Right.
Now, I also, not only will they come for the middle class, but they'll also come for black people.
Yeah.
I'm talking about this. If you continue to feed motherfuckers like Biden and Kamala, if you continue to feed the media, if you continue to feed the university, essentially, let's be real, it's not all that conspiracy theorists. They have called themselves Marxists and communists, okay, socialists, whatever you want to call it. If you continue to feed that beast does not stop and go, I already ate the rich, I already ate the white, I already ate the straight, I already ate the cis, I'm all good. They will come for black people, and they already fucking have. Look at fucking 50, look at Kanye, look at Cube.
That's a brilliant point.
Not just that. One of the things I brought up a couple episodes ago, the Antifa idea, the Antifa movement, right? Very big on atheism, okay? Very big on atheism. Okay, they may say, look at this bitch in a hijab, but they don't give a fuck about her God. They don't give a fuck because eventually their whole thing, their whole idea, because they're idealist white douchebags, is we're all gonna after having free healthcare, free education, free whatever, we're all gonna sit on a blanket in a park and sing about poetry and think about things and be philosophical. Like that's the right, but we're not going to get there until what does John Lennon say? Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. If everyone believes like me, I hope someday you'll join us and the world will live as one. What does that mean? The world will live as one when you believe like me, motherfucker. The world will have peace when you believe like me, when you have no heaven, no God, no bullshit, right? The goal, the machine will find eventually, okay, we already killed white people and their God. You know what, black people, you're a little too, all these black people are against abortion? What? We're going to have to pry God away from black people. We're going to have to pry black. And you know what? Like I said, these white liberals don't know black people. Black people love Jesus. A lot of the motherfuckers, you talk to any and not even in the South alone, in Queens, if you say the word, are you backsliding? Immediately. If you say backslider, a black person just remembers the shock and the horror and they were, oh man, it's been 2 or 3 years since I got baptized. Fuck, there's a lot of black people who love Jesus, and you're gonna have a real hard time beat the shit out of white people and white Christians and white whoever, white Jews. You're gonna have a motherfucker of a time trying to pry God out of black people.
Where else do you think that line is drawn? Like, in addition to Christianity, when it comes to black people, because clearly it's not abortion, right? Like clearly it's not calling black kids roaches. You know what I'm saying? Clearly it's not arresting them at a crazy rate. So where at what point, other than Christianity, do you feel that collectively black people will draw the line with this whole agenda? I know it's a hard one. I know that's like fucking.
I think, well, it depends on a lot, but I think the white liberals underestimate black people, not just because they don't know them. And so they assume all black people all love Black Lives Matter, et cetera, et cetera. But I think they underestimate them in the idea that if you really push, and let's be real, there's only 41 million black people in the country. There's only 13-14%. So it wouldn't be too difficult, to ratchet it down on them, but you would have to shame them first.
Right.
Just like you shamed white people. I think probably the way they would try to shame black people is by lifting up trans people. That's what I think, probably. You don't understand the plight of the trans, but they've already, black trans women are being killed more often. Like, really? Yeah. Oh, there was 14 murders this year. Do you know how many motherfucking murders there are in this country a year? And you're complaining about 30? 30? Yeah. That's a pandemic. It's an epidemic that black trans people. 30? That's a lot to you, motherfucker. 30 people just even since we started this fucking show.
Yeah, I know, right?
40 minutes ago.
I know. And think about how many black people have killed other black people. I know they say it's a broken record at this point. Sure, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I don't give a fuck. It's like this. Oh well, how can you possibly how can you possibly bring that up? And fuck that, dude. Like, do you not give a fuck about Tyrone either? Like you claim you do. The Antifa people who hit that dude. What was that guy's name? I forgot it. But they knocked the dude's teeth out, right? Where was Black Lives Matter then? It doesn't. If we're all like this monolith and we all have to agree all the same, what the fuck is Black Lives Matter? What actually is that? Because when you start drawing the line, okay, well, except for conservatives, okay, except for Trump supporters, okay, except for people who are supporting police, except for black police officers. Who's left? Who's left?
Except for black babies too. So just
black babies. Yeah. You took it there.
Sorry, I know everybody's mad, but I don't give a fuck.
And that's the thing too. Like, there's this report, and it's kind of weird to just think about it because it's like, subliminally you read some shit and you're like, there's no way that could be fucking true. And it would have to take you literally going and researching it and like you ever have those sessions where you just like watch YouTube for like an hour on one particular or a few hours on one particular thing? Yeah. When I read that there's more black babies being aborted in New York City than there are being born, or just about the same thing. Even if that's just off by 15%, that is insane, right? So how do you expect black people take issue with being the minority, some of them, right? But you're always going to be the minority if you're, collectively endorsing abortion. It's just not going to happen. When people find out, when I tell people what Planned Parenthood is really about, I don't see any lines drawn. When we talk about the body parts of these babies being harvested and experimented on and sold on the black market, like that doesn't
not even on the black market.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, not even.
University of California, San Francisco.
Crazy. And I'm like, okay, so Biden can say this about you. Planned Parenthood could do this to your kids. Okay. What is it going to take? What is it going to take? I don't even argue with these people anymore. Because if that doesn't do it, there's nothing to talk about. You could call me every name in the book. You could send every threat. It doesn't matter. Your opinion is mutt at this point. Because you can't at the same voice say, oh, Black Lives Matter, and then turn around and say, well, Biden, or, okay, well, it should be legal, or we should have to pay for other women to, or minority women to abort their babies. Shit doesn't make any fucking sense at all.
Yeah. How you doing on time? A couple more minutes?
Oh no, yeah, no, I'm good. I'm doing all right. I'm cooling actually. Yeah.
One of the things that Shelby Steele brought up in What Killed Michael Brown was a great point. He said that white guilt, and especially being extremely vocal about white guilt, is actually a subconscious way of making themselves innocent. Washing its original sin. I was born white, so even though my family didn't come from, I mean, I'm 40 whatever percent white, 45, 46% white, but my family came here after slavery was already abolished. But so the original sin is because my skin, because my blood, because my 23andMe says I'm 45% white. Then I was born with this sin. And the way to expunge that sin, the way to bathe ourselves is not to say, I believe in Jesus like Christianity. The way to bathe ourselves from that sin is to say, I'm guilty. I'm wrong. It's very Catholicism, really. Yeah. I was born with original sin. I'm gonna join the ranks. I'm gonna vote the right way. I'm gonna not, I'm gonna not say nigga. I'm gonna watch Blackish. I'm gonna force myself to watch Blackish as if it's a valid piece of entertainment. Yeah. I'm gonna take this thing on my head, and I'm gonna deliciousize my that's not a word. I'm gonna take this.
It is now. Fuck it. I like it.
I'm gonna take this white guilt, and by taking this white guilt, I'm gonna expunge myself of it.
It's actually a very powerful tactic. It's just like Black Lives Matter. How do you tackle that? How do you attack it? I think we spoke about that on the last segment. It's just so indestructible. But we say, fuck that. Nah. You're not going to get away with that shit, because Michael Brown, man, that whole situation, and I don't want to really get too deep in this Breonna Taylor shit, only because there's so much conflicting information going out there now. Not that I give a fuck really, but I just, just for the sake of time and for the, like, he's a perfect example because, he was blatantly and clearly not in the right. Let me not say in the wrong, because, you might get banned if you post this on YouTube, and you get demonetized or whatever. But that right there set the tone for me. Like when I really finally realized, that the media had a deliberate agenda behind that. I was like, if we can't do any wrong, and you can blur the lines of the law, we have no country collectively. Collectively, we have no country, because. Fuck it. Mike Brown, that whole situation, dude, like I can go on for 8 hours about that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's why I really want to watch
Sterling
that.
Too. Alton Sterling was one of those where I'm like, he was fucking selling his mixtape. He threatened a motherfucker with a gun. The cops show up because he threatened a motherfucker with a gun. Okay. And then they tussle because he's not, he's not putting his hands behind his back, and now he's reaching in his pocket while they're tussling along. Of course you're going to shoot him. At what point, white liberals, at what point is it okay to defend yourself? At what point is it okay to defend other people? He threatened a motherfucker with a gun.
Right.
Don't call the cops.
That guy, Rayshard Brooks, same situation. He's like throwing these fucking police officers like they're fucking pieces of paper. You know what I'm saying? And if a criminal or a suspected criminal grabs my taser, right, and I have a gun on me, you could tase the shit out of me to take my gun.
Right.
So when people say, well, it's too excessive, why didn't he shoot him in the leg? Sure, fine, okay. But you know what I'm saying? But he still has my taser. This shit doesn't necessarily mean that it's gonna end well.
The other thing is legs. I don't know if people know this. They're smaller.
Yeah, you can't. Right.
And not only are they smaller, they move.
They move.
They move a lot faster than a torso does.
Yeah, between that and the arms, it's not necessarily an easy fucking target. You know what I mean? Right. If someone has, and as a human being, right, I don't think there's any level of training that's gonna override that fight or flight, you know, in the moment kind of situation. You're not thinking about, oh yeah, when I was a cadet, you know, I had to, you know, grab the arm. Fuck all that. I got a home to go to. You know what I mean? I got kids I got a family to go to at the end of the day. So when people stop,
and let's be real. I don't know if people also know anatomy. Not only are legs smaller, they have a thick. There's been many people who have died because a bullet hit that large fucking artery.
Yeah,
there are large arteries in the leg that if you shoot somebody in the wrong spot, that's now bleeding. You can't just tourniquet that off and, you know, saw off your leg. You're a dead motherfucker.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Very, very good point. You can really honestly be shot pretty much anywhere and just bleed to death. I mean, let's be real. If you don't get enough attention in a timely manner, it's over for you. Like, you know, like if you're going to advocate for somebody getting shot anywhere, you might as well like just put to rest that whole argument of, oh, it's too excessive, because fuck all that, man. Just because fuck all that. That's my answer. Just because fuck all that.
And why isn't the onus on Brooks to stop being a cunt?
Yes.
Why isn't the onus on, I've definitely got many tickets because I was an asshole driver many times, right?
I believe you.
Maybe they pulled me over because I'm bald or because I look racially ambiguous. But you know what, the onus was on me. I'm not saying that it's impossible, or I mean, because I've heard black men tell the story that they were in the hood and another black guy the cops were searching for, and they pulled them over, and the cops were dicks to them. Okay, I understand that. Don't be a dick. At the same time, you know, just because if I'm sorry, but if I'm in goddamn, I look kind of Chinese. If I'm in Chinatown and they're looking for a Fu Manchu motherfucker, is it going to bother me when I get pulled over once a month or whatever because I look like a Chinese motherfucker? Exactly. Yeah, it's going to bother me. Then I'll move from fucking Chinatown, or I'll fucking.
Or you can just move on from that incident. Maybe. Yeah, you know, maybe.
And I certainly am not going to like throw up my hands as a why are you and start swinging at mother. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
no, for sure. And what message is that sending to kids? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can do wrong things. All right, you can do bad things. Just don't get caught, or just don't let it get to a situation where you're confronting the police officers, because you might get shot or you might get killed. That's it. They skip the accountability saga, right? It's just the wrong and the, you know, potentially fatal incident, you know, confrontation. All of that in the middle, the kid not actually having that honest conversation with their, you know, parents or whatever the case is, that's literally promoting a life of crime in a lot of cases. And I'll tell you how I know this is true, because I witness it. I went to probably the worst school in all of, you know, Queens, you know what I mean? Went to Andrew Jackson. And I've seen these kids like, oh, these fuck 12. I'm like, dude, you literally you literally beat that guy's eye socket out. Like, you know, or free Tay or whatever the case is. Like, dude, like, he committed crimes. I'm not saying that that person deserved to die. I'm saying that that person needs to be held accountable for being a menace to society in that moment.
And they invited that exchange into their life because of their decisions.
Their decisions.
There's a lot of poor people, and I can prove it. Maybe no, fuck this. This is a proof.
Because you're saying it, it's true. It's true. Like,
there are a lot of poor Black people. Why aren't they getting shot because they robbed somebody?
Mm-hmm.
Why are they being responsible for their actions and not Brooks and not Alton and not all these other motherfuckers? Why are they? Oh, he had no choice but to steal.
Right.
Really? Why aren't there 41 million fucking thieves?
I wanted to follow up with that, bro. Like, just the contrary. A lot of my friends are like, fuck it, I ain't shit. They caught me and they'll laugh about it. Like, shit, I gotta do community service. Like, you own it. Like, you know what I mean? But for specifically to the point, like, you're literally, and that goes back to identity politics. You're voting because of police brutality, as opposed to voting for your taxes. So when 50 says, I don't want to pay 62% taxes in New York, you fucking kidding me? The person that victim, the victim of victim mentality, right, is saying, you know what, 50's a coon because he doesn't care about police brutality, or he doesn't care about the Black plight. You know what I mean? Like, no, there's more to voting. And we have to educate ourselves. And again, I blame the media. I blame the education system for not showing light, bringing light to what politics really is. It's multidimensional. These single issue voters kill me.
And yeah, because the other thing is 50 is Black. So he is technically a part of the Black plight.
There you go. He talks about it. He raps about it.
Right.
Lil Wayne
got shot 9 fucking times and got his ass out.
Right. Lil Wayne said, I was in a situation where, like, I shot myself, and the police officers, there was one white police officer who helped me. He's like, what the fuck are you guys doing? This kid is here bleeding. And that shines light on the fact that, because the Black community has this collectively or generally historically has had this disregard for the law in hip hop culture, or, I'm not saying this is the case. I'm just saying this is what's being portrayed. Like, these police officers who are humans, who are also victim to the narrative, right? What incentive do a lot of these people have to respect Black people in the hood who hurt themselves or who needs, an emergency? It's horrible to say. It's very horrible to say. But we will never get respect when, one, we don't have wealth, right? The community wealth or whatever, or if we just have disregard and disrespect for law enforcement. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, being a slut. You know what I'm saying? Like, open fucking slut. You can't be mad when people call you a slut if all you do is suck dick. You can't. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you getting tight for?
Here's the other thing, and a perfect example of what you're talking about. In the 60s, when Black people were, and Shelby Steele, everybody, he was a part of that fucking shit. He was literally in a segregated school. In the 60s, when they were having hoses put on them, when they were protesting in the streets, when protesting actually meant not, I'm gonna throw a brick through a Starbucks because I'm a white faggot. When protesting would actually get you fired or get you killed, like fucking legit killed. Okay.
Killed.
Not I threw a rocket at a police officer and he threw me to the ground,
or character assassination
in my eyes because I was a douchebag. So there were actual consequences. Let me put it this way. When Blacks were literally being treated like animals, what did they do? They turned around and acted fucking like, I'm not an animal and I'm gonna act my way out of that. Yeah. You can treat me any way you fucking want, but I'm not gonna, like, the same thing. When I act like a kid, I get treated like a kid.
Right.
I act like a little bitch with my family or with a girl or whatever, and suddenly they don't treat me like I'm a fucking man. That's my fucking shit. Okay, I don't go, they're treating me like I'm not a man, so I'm gonna shit my pants. No, that's not the way you do it. The Black people in the 60s got themselves out of that shit because they acted like fucking adults, and you're not gonna treat you. I don't care how you treat me. I'm still gonna speak up. I'm still gonna vote. I'm still gonna sit in the front of the bus. I'm gonna act, and you know what? I'm gonna fucking act like not regardless of I'm wearing a suit or whatever. Right. Like I'm gonna the juice, the fucking I'm gonna not act like whatever you want me to.
Exactly.
Right. And I'm not a fucking animal, and I refuse to treat myself that way. And yet now,
Yeah, the media, you have the media portraying the black life like blackish, right? Like I don't watch it, but I see clips, I see all types of references, and it paints the black family a particular way. Not to say that a lot of families aren't like that, but it doesn't, we're not a monolith where there's not a fucking drape over, what the black person or individual or collective family, whatever it is. But society is going to respond that way. When I run into people, like a lot of Asians, right? And I mean like Asian immigrants, not people who like Asian Americans, whatever, people who moved here um, fairly recently, and they kind of look at us either in spectacle or in, I don't want to use the word disgust, that's a little extreme. But like, I kind of like, it took me a little bit of time, but I kind of
Yeah.
actually fucking get it. You know what I'm saying? Especially in the hood. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like these, like I have a lot in Queens. There's quite a bit of a high in certain areas, Indian population, right? And there's a lot of them are fucking scared of black people, fucking shook. There, a lot of them own their own businesses, and shit happens. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
How am I gonna feel offended or upset or mad that he's kind of like cautious because I walked in and my pants are a little bit lower than I usually would wear them, or like I just decided to throw a hoodie on or whatever. How much can I be offended by that? Because obviously it came from somewhere. It's like you walk up to a kid and you just do that and he flinches. Why is he doing that? Because he has an experience behind that. It's something that triggers something in his mind, right? When we stop holding each other accountable and saying like, dude, you fucked up, you did something wrong, you know that lack of accountability is just going to perpetuate, and it's going to be shown and shared through media. Keep perpetuating that narrative, that representation. That's why I'm huge on creating our own stories, telling our own stories, as opposed to, because let's face it, the entertainment industry, a lot of these black stories aren't necessarily told by black people all the time.
Right. Or they're told by insufferable black people.
There
they're
you
told,
go. There you go.
they're
Yeah,
told
you're right.
by some
It's
black bitch
either
with a blackety black degree.
exactly, exactly. And then you have, the white people. "Yeah, all right, so I need you to do this. I need you to be Tyrone. I need you to be Jerron. Like, bro, like you're just perpetuating the stereotype. Go ahead.
In what way though? Because I don't think there's enough hood motherfucking representation when it's like a white writer or when
Right,
there's white money behind it. Because that's what it
mhm,
always is. White people want to feel guilty, and they know that
right.
guilt will sell.
Yeah,
So they'll
yeah.
get a blackety black degree bitch to come in and say,
Uh,
I don't have any creativity, talent, or humor, but I'm going to write a thing for you, and you're going to pay
yeah,
me really well because you can't fire
yeah.
me because I'm blackety black. Um,
Exactly.
but let's be fucking real. But when there's whiteness, I think blackish is not. I think I rarely see just a fucking. I can already tell.
Yeah,
Ooh,
no,
there's
no.
gonna be some
Yeah,
fucking
I
white
know. We
motherfuckers.
we dropped some bombs already, so it's fuck it, because you just
There's never a fucking what's the name of that red fire Cheeto eating bitch. there's never a hot Cheeto eating bitch who's fucking with the big rings and the blah blah. Who there's never that representation. It's
I
always
get it.
like, oh, I'm white except my skin is black, and maybe I'll every once in a while I'll say child, but never. Like Tyler Perry is the only motherfuckers who's like, I mean, he has a lot of different types of black people in his
Yeah.
shows, but at least every once in a while, like, let's be real, white liberals. Why do you think Big Mama's House was a huge fucking movie?
Mhm.
Because it was representation of oh, I have a fucking big black mama. Don't act like, you know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
I don't
Yeah.
know. If I'm,
Yeah, no. You're right. You're right. You're right. It's just to me,
they're
I think,
whiteifying black people. They're white.
yeah, no, I feel that, but I mean, I'm speaking on like those cases where you have, the stereotypical, I'm gonna rob the store, I'm gonna this, I'm gonna that, and then I'm a victim. Like I'm a victim. That like trickles into what we actually see out in real life.
Right.
And maybe it's not in like per capita, right? But like I think those big shows, those main shows, is just like, yeah, I don't know, like I don't really watch these things. I just see like little clips, and I kind of like just examine them and whatnot. I never watched an episode of Well, I never watched an entire episode of Power a day in my life, But from what I've seen, it's just like it's harder for me to tell, like, okay, this is really my life, or this is really what I experienced. It's just always this linear. narrative, not always, is a lot of that linear narrative of Black people, like, you know, how we carry ourselves and whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
You mean like victimhood or Black queenness or
Major
stuff like
part
that?
of it. I think the main thing for me is the victimhood, bro. I think that's the top of the list, the victimhood, and police officers they're always after us, and like I don't know, that prompts us to really believe that. You know what I mean? Like, okay, well, the show that I watched this last night, the main character, he was a target, and he was falsely accused of a crime or whatever. So, you know what? I'm a target too. It's like being a little 12-year-old. You went to see Spider-Man and you leave the movie theater and you think you're Spider-Man. You know what I mean? It's the same phenomena,
Right.
to me. To me.
No, I think that's legit. I actually, now that I think about it, I don't know if I've ever seen not just a Black serial killer, but like a Black rapist. I don't think I've ever seen.
Wow. See
There's
that?
rapists, but I think on TV or in movies they're always white.
Right. Yeah. So it's not that, and just to be clear for your audience, the people watching this, it's not that those aren't happening. That's not like it's not in those films. But like, say if likely there is a Black rapist, the whole cast is Black, right? So it's not, so it kind of revokes that the magnitude of him being a Black rapist. It's just and that's essentially how it should be, right? But when you made a great point, when you notice, oh, the races, if there's like enough diversity in, or at least the proportions, if you got 15% Black, you got 70% white, and the 3% Asian or whatever, and yada yada yada, why is it that always that rapist guy is a non-Black or whatever? It's because it's very strategic. It's just, I noticed that when we watch certain shows, there's that Black woman, the loudmouth Black woman, and some shows that I've seen, and I'm thinking, dude, they did this shit on purpose so that white people who aren't exposed or familiar with Black emotion, like we said earlier, that becomes their a preconceived notion in their mind, right? In some cases, not all cases, in some cases. And then when they go out and they realize it, they either react like, oh my God, it really, like, all of this, the media controls our interactions on a day-to-day basis. We've handed these people the power to do that. And I'm saying the way to revoke that from them is creating our own representation, our own stories. Everyone's like, oh, let's recreate this with Black characters. No, fuck that. Tell your own story. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, Black people are some of the most creative. I mean, you can look at music. Black people are some of the most creative motherfuckers in the world, but yeah, they're being artistically choked. I've talked about it before, but like when you look at the Joker from Dark Knight, right? Did you really get a sense? I mean, he said three different stories about why he got the scars. Right? You don't really know his backstory, but the reason why he's an engaging character is because you don't. He's just fucking villainous. In white land, in TV, you can be a piece of shit and not have a sad story that made you that way. In black TV land, you have to have a sad story that it's not his fault he raped people. It's because it's not his fault he robbed. It's not his fault he murdered. He had no choice. Boys in the Hood.
Right. There you go. There you go.
Did you ever get a backstory on fucking on Hannibal Lecter? No, he was just a delicious character that was terrifying because you didn't understand that, well, he was molested when a child. No, he was just an interesting character because in real life, we don't know people's backstories. I'm not saying don't make stories that help people understand that everybody's human. Lord knows. Right. I know that even piece of shit, that's why I'm against the fucking death penalty. Even piece of shit fucking rapists and piece of shit pedophiles. I don't want to fucking, it's not my fucking decision to murder them. You know what I mean? Put them aside, away from people. Don't let them out of fucking prison.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So no, I feel you, bro. I feel you. I struggle with that shit too, with the death penalty. When it comes to kids, like, 90% of my days, I'm like, yeah, no, it's a firm 90%. Fuck that. But then the other 10%, I'm just like, damn, but how does that make us really any better? You know what I mean? How does that really? Okay,
I've literally,
maybe it's 95.5. Yeah, now that I think,
right.
because now just thinking about it. But there's that show Mindhunters, right? I think it's on, what is it, HBO or Netflix or whatever. It's like these people have stories, bro. Like it's things that made these people this way. And when we neglect these people and we're just like, okay, story, more of these people are breeded into society or bred into society. You know, sorry.
No, yeah, and also, and we'll start wrapping up. I'm sure you got to go, but one of the things that helped me see that is partially because of my own experience and some of the shameful, unforgivable things that I've done. Comparatively, no, not murder. You know, I've never molested anybody,
I hope so.
but you know, some of the things that I've literally thought about killing myself before, to be fucking real, and then gotten to the other side of it through work, gotten to the other side of it through therapy or through meditation or through whatever, right? So I wouldn't want to label somebody else. I've also done work done volunteer work in prisons and stuff, and I know murderers, okay, fucking murderers, not even necessarily gang murder, but fucking murder because I was jealous because this bitch cheated on me type of murder, who cleaned their life up, changed their life around, got sober, turned up, you know, spent 20 something years in prison, and are trustworthy people and have gotten out, and I love to death. But even if we need to keep them in there forever, you know, death penalty, come on, man. Like I certainly can't get behind it, you know?
I get it. Actually, that was very profound. I have a couple of friends that I can attest to with that particular context. And I gotta say, like, I can't imagine being that person to like set that life sentence, so to speak, or death sentence rather, because people can always turn it around. People can always turn around. There's very, 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 very few cases where I feel like that's it. You know what I mean? But I feel you know, but and the worst thing to do is bring up somebody's horrible past, because that, you know, all of that rebuilding that work, you know, coming back to, you know, if you had that situation where you shot somebody because you were jealous, whatever, you know, all that work from coming back from that and just to throw it in their faces is just like,
Right. And I'm not saying there shouldn't be consequences. I'm not saying let everybody out of prison, because that's some stupid shit. That's some liberal stupid shit.
protect
But
black criminals.
right. Just have more social workers.
Yeah, bro. Like,
There's literally guys in San Francisco, I'm sure in New York too, but in San Francisco, who on high on whatever they're high on or crazy and whatever, who cover themselves in shit, in human feces, naked, running through the Tenderloin at 3 a.m. What's a social worker going to do? You know how strong motherfuckers can be? You know how strong motherfuckers can be who are not mentally with us right now? Holy shit. You want the same thing? I don't know if you're talking about the same thing, but there was a video I saw a few months ago, black guy, shirtless, in the street. He's got 3 or 4 cops trying to wrangle him down, and this guy's tossing him across the fucking...
Was that the video where he's like headbutting cars and shit? Because was it in New York? Because I've seen a video. Yeah, he was like, that's not the same one, but he was like literally like throwing the police officers around or whatnot, butt ass naked, skinny. He's like skinny as shit too, skinny. You got these big guys, and he got away. I gotta find that shit. That shit is fucking crazy, dog. Like, yeah, are you like Biden? What did he say? That you should send social workers or psychiatrists with the police officers to certain calls. Yeah, no, you're asking for certain people to get seriously hurt. You know, seriously hurt.
Besides the fact that that is already it's money to send 2 or 3 officers. Yeah. Now we're going to send another, so that needs more money, right? Yeah. And I'm not saying we don't help people, but I'm saying let's stop the bleed. And maybe this kind of wraps up into my last point. So I'm a recovered alcoholic. I've talked about it before. Is the reason maybe why I stole the shit and did all the horrible shit that I did alcoholism? Okay, yeah. But does the alcoholism have to say sorry, or do I?
There you go. Exactly.
Was I a victim of a disease? I believe so. But who has to take responsibility for the actions that I fucking chose to do?
Wow.
Me. Not my disease, not the oppressor that was in my life. Just like we were talking about, you know, people are treating me like an animal, so I'm going to act like an animal. Bitch, stop being a fucking turd. Yeah. Right? We have to take responsibility. We have to take responsibility of ourselves. And I'm what do you think about this idea? When it comes to Black people who are really offended about the way they're treated in society, number one, your experience, or really your perception of your experience, is not correct just because you have Black skin.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
I've been incorrect about my perception on my experience many times in my life. And that does, you being a part of that human experience is not negated because you have Black skin. That's number one.
I agree.
Number two, if you really want to change, regardless of your situation, I'm not saying let's not do the things we need to do to change the situation, i.e. fine, HBCUs and all this shit, fine, whatever. But regardless of that outward thing, what changed in the 60s? It wasn't them throwing a fucking tantrum, okay? It was them adulting the fuck up and being like, oh, look, this fucking kid who I'm out in the streets protesting and do that, this fucking kid, my kid, is acting like a fucking dumbass, smack him upside the head. No, that's not what you do. You learn, you teach our kids, you teach each other. That's community shit, that's church shit, whatever you want to do. Responsibility up for our own decisions. Can we change outward? No. Could I change that I was born with alcoholism? Could I change that I was born bald? No. Could I change that I was born half Puerto Rican? No. But I'm responsible for my decisions now, regardless of my outside circumstances. That's what adults do.
Yeah. Yeah. The best way to garner respect is to, by default, be respectful. Right. You know what I mean? Like the most ambitious people in the world, the most well-regarded people in the world, they got there by having a lot of respect. It's just common sense. Right. Man, I didn't think it would get this deep, man. I
like it. Great. I thought I was just gonna say the N-word for fucking.
Yeah, nah, me too. I thought I was ready, man. Like this week has been fucking. It's been a lot, man. It's been pretty overwhelming. Not for me necessarily, but in the headlines, it's just going freaking bananas now.
But I would say to people, don't forget, like, self-care is important. You know what I mean? You can call it fucking faggot shit all you want or whatever, but like I've gotten a lot of spiritual growth from like just taking a break from social media for a day.
Yeah.
Giving myself not even a day, just be like, all of a sudden I realize, oh, I've been on social media for like a half hour, for an hour the other day or last night. Like, I don't even give a fuck. Ew. Like it's like you catch yourself, like you come out of an emotional blackout where you're just like, oh shit.
Yeah. I had that.
What the hell did I just do?
Moment yesterday.
And I just take 2 hours. Okay, I'm going to look at the clock. It's 1:30. I'm going to give myself till 3:30. I'm not going to look at social media, or I'm not going to look at the news 2-3 hours, whatever. There's something that shifts when I make a decision. So don't forget, everybody. Yeah, it seems like it's crazy, but Black people are not being, hosed in the streets. Good. The economy is actually pretty fucking great, especially right now, the recovery.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you have unemployment. Okay. You're in school, you have meditate, your life is actually better.
Yeah. And I gotta say, a lot of my friends, my Black friends who are like so anti-Trump, these people are opening their businesses. They're opening businesses. And I'm like, I keep it a stack, man. Y'all probably wouldn't even want to even attempt to open a business if things went differently exactly 4 years ago, because what a lot of people don't realize, I have people close to me who've tried, well, a little older than me, but they've tried to open businesses in the past. But they're like, I had to jump through like rings of fire just to, get what I wanted to get done. Now you have people stupider than me, opening multiple businesses, So, and that says a lot. It's a big deal. It's a huge deal. Oh, Black people, they're not getting jobs and da-da-da. Are they? Are they not? Well, cool. Like owning businesses, I can tell you that. But
yeah, the bureaucracy machine does not stop. Just like the reason why is it so difficult to open a business, because you have to get the right permit with the right person. The permit people are like, there's 58 of those cocksuckers. Okay, now the permit people need a head supervisor to get you without even questioning, why do we need a fucking permit to change something on my property, in my fucking house, in my right? I have to not only get a permit, that's money. to get a permit, to get a doing business as, to get a this, to get a that, to get a this, to get a that. Oh, it literally costs money to get a shampooing license. Suck my dick.
By the time you're ready to operate, you don't got shit. You don't have anything to pay anybody. You're done. You're done. So when I tell people like, yo, dude, deregulation is real. That's a big deal. And it doesn't just stop at starting businesses and shit like that. Like if you already have a job, if you already have a business, there's certain things you can't even do because you have to have a permit for it, you know? So.
And if we keep feeding this Biden, you know, I'm not saying Biden is Satan, but if we keep feeding this machine.
I don't know.
If we keep feeding that machine, what's going to happen? There's going to be now, instead of just a permit, now you have to have, I mean, we already have it in a lot of corporations, especially you want to start a show in Los Angeles. There's at a sit down meeting, there's going to be someone saying the words. So, okay, we got the plot, we got the cast, we got what's your diversity like?
Yeah.
Diversity like? So you think that's not going to come for you too, just because you start up a shampoo business? We're eventually going to need to make sure everything's even Stevens, like we're fucking five. Everything needs to be even Stevens. He got an ice cream when I didn't. Faggot. Yeah. Everything's going to need to be even Stevens, even if you start up a fucking shampoo license business or whatever the fuck, right? Eventually, why are there only Asian people in here? There's going to be need to be more black, or even if this black bitch or this Puerto Rican bitch or whatever is not as good at shampooing, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, but I don't know anybody. Well, you got to find somebody.
Right. That bureaucracy machine. Right.
There's so many things that happened over the past few years that a lot of people be like, oh, that never happened. But now you have fucking Congress people changing the definition of sexual preference, right? Like it's offensive now to use that term. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just how everything is just so Orwellian. You got Facebook and Twitter censoring a very damning situation. That's election tampering, by the way. There's no way around that. When Trump says you're a criminal for not reporting this, people are like, oh, that's not how this works. Yeah, no, you're protecting criminals, and we're right ahead of an election, right? So we just got to be way more honest with ourselves and hold the media accountable. I said the media probably like 55 times in this
I like it.
But it's true. It's true. And this is powerful, where you and I are actually doing the job of what the media is supposed to be doing, essentially. I don't want to say supposed to be in the terms of like, you know, because, you know, we're not a dictatorship here. We're, you know, it's a free country. But the media, they it's not their job to endorse a politician for us. It's not their job to push a narrative for us. They're supposed to give us the facts and we make our own decisions, right? I mean, this is more opinionated, right? But overall, like we offer actual logic, actual facts, actual measurable, tangible, you know, things that people can evaluate on their own. But instead, what we have is the media literally telling people what it is, and that's literally tearing the fabric.
And I will say another difference between us and them, or, you know, I think you're the same way. And I know we got to wrap up, but like, listen, everybody, if Biden wins, I'm not going to go, I'm going to move. I'm going to fucking bide my time and be ready to say, told you, bitch. Yep. I'm going to be fucking, and I'll certainly be annoyed. I'll certainly be sad. I'll certainly be angry. And I'll certainly want to make sure that these cocksucking liberals didn't fucking cheat. But outside of that, if there's proof, if there's legit, like, okay, 51% voted for cocksucker Biden, fine, watch. You know, I'm gonna be sitting and I'll keep doing the show, even though Biden's really gonna keep, you know, I mean, I literally have 10,000 followers on TikTok and my views get 25 views. Bitch, you stop.
Don't. Oh my God, trust me. I used to
piece of shit.
Yeah, I had way less followers on Instagram, and now I get way less views on my shit. Now, simple math, bro. Like, I know, like, my friends are tired of me at this point. Like, I get it. But there's no way you drop from 200, 250 to, like, 20 after 23 hours. Like, it just doesn't happen. I had my Facebook page with no warning, no explanation, nothing. I had my friend hit me up saying, yo, you deleted your page? I'm like, what the fuck? Deleted my page? I try to log in. This is election tampering, dude.
But see, don't you understand, Kay? The white people in San Jose know better than you.
You
The
know
white
what?
people in San Jose who are terrified that they're guilty of whiteness, so they're going to tap dance fast. Look, black lady, I'm taking it. I'm cutting down these fucking conservatives, even if they're black. That's their way of validating their own experience. The white people know more than you, even though they're saying, just listen to black people, shut up, white people. They don't actually mean it. They don't actually mean it.
They don't actually mean it. And they're not, and that's doing a disservice to the black community, right? Like treating us like little babies and whatnot. Like, just to go back to what I was saying earlier, when you say, oh, well, you know, whatever, dude. This we can go on and on about that.
I know, right?
And it's just like, I don't want to sound like a fucking broken record, but dude, like, it's just when they think that they're helping, you know, when they're really actually hurting, the irony of it, it's beautiful to me in a way. It's sickening, but fucking beautiful, because I can't make this shit up. And I'm a very creative dude. You know what I'm saying?
Speaking of creative dude, where
I
can
gotta hear your
you find
music.
you?
So on IG, K Cassells, that's KECASSELLS. On You can find my music on Apple Music, same thing, except you just, you know, there's a space between K and Cassells, obviously. I got some stuff on SoundCloud if you're not subscribed to, like, you know, Tidal or anything like that, you cheap bastard. But what else? Facebook. I just made a new page. Viente Cinco Shamor. Shamor being SHAMUR. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got for right now. I got my a YouTube that should be up by the end of the year.
Nice.
With a bunch of different content on there.
All right. Political stuff or music stuff or both, or
a mix. I think I'll have either multiple channels, I'm still debating, or just one channel with a bunch of different things on there. So yeah.
Awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Wherever you're listening, everybody, make sure you subscribe. Also rate it, review it, share it with your friends. If you're listening on YouTube or watching on YouTube, hit the bell. And literally just clicking the fucking star, 5-star, just doing that will help the algorithms get changed. You know, following Kay, following me, it changes things. Especially if you're on Instagram, hit the save, not just the like, because they change the shit to, you know, whatever. But also, just to let everybody know, besides following me on Instagram at Peter_Feliciano, besides Conservatish on TikTok and Facebook and all that bullshit, besides all that, we will be doing another video for the album. So I've got a model coming up from Florida, my videographer coming out from San Francisco. We're going to do this shit the right way. It's going to be fucking legit. And obviously I came out with an album last year, so there's going to be another video from it. Besides That's Why You've Got Haters, there's going to be another video. So keep an eye out for that in January. So I appreciate everybody. Thank you so much, Kay, for coming on the show again. Really appreciate
having me on the show, man. Thank you.
And I'll go ahead and stop the recording. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye, guys.